People are raped. And the fact that you can sit here and say that the rapist baby, the seed or whatever you want to call it, the baby that's still in your belly and that it's not born yet, that you should be forced to have that, it's disgusting. And the fact that you can come over here and have an entire career based off of this, and I'm not done speaking, and then you can sit here in front of my friend who was a victim of rape and say that she should have that baby, it's disgusting. And you should be damn ashamed of yourself, and I don't believe that, and I'm not gonna fight until people like you do not have a place to come on here on my campus that I paid a school to go to and spew your fucking lies.
Well, I believe in the First Amendment. Do you believe in the First Amendment?
Do you?
Ladies and gentlemen, I have a video from Kristan where she's confronted by this particular person, and the way things unfolds and ends is quite unexpected. I'll be sharing my thoughts along the way, so let's jump into it and watch.
So if someone needs a kidney transplant and there's like only one person on the world that can like provide the kidney, is it still in the government's right to like force that person to give up a kidney? In the same way, like, is it in the government's right to force a woman to like give up her like uterus for 9 months to support a fetus that eventually becomes a human?
That's the violinist argument. The whole thought experiment is you're walking around the streets one day, you get kidnapped, you wake up in a hospital bed, you look down, you're connected with wires to another human being. The Society of Music Lovers has kidnapped you because there's a world famous violinist who's this worldwide treasure and has this debilitating disease. He is going to die and you are the only person on the face of this earth who can keep him alive. But don't worry, in 9 months he's gonna be all good and you can get unhooked, right? That's the whole argument. So, and that's supposed to be analogous to abortion, right? A woman having to give up the space in her uterus for a human being. I think what that analogy, that thought experiment fundamentally lacks is acknowledging the difference between stranger and the woman and the child and the woman. Because that's, unless you're talking about cases of sexual assault, a woman has given consent to get pregnant because she has chosen to engage in a behavior that could result in pregnancy. She may not want to get pregnant, but she knowingly entered into a decision knowing that a consequence of that decision could be the creation of a unique, whole, living human life. So that's actually, when we're talking about that, it's actually like her giving consent and then taking it away and saying, oh, no, just kidding, I'm not going to do that. So I think it's fundamentally different than you or me, like strangers, and what we're morally required to do. I would say that's fundamentally different. I think it would be a very nice thing if you were kidnapped and you gave up 9 months of your life to save another human life. I'm looking at some people in this room, you look like very nice people, you may do it. And some of you don't look so nice and you'd say, sorry, I like you, stranger, but I'm not giving up 9 months of my life. But that's a fundamentally different relationship than a mother and her own child, because she is already, unless it's, like I said, unless it's a case of sexual assault, she has given consent and has engaged in a behavior. It's also different too, simply unplugging than actively killing. And I think that's a difference too. Because in that case, you would be actively just unplug, you would remove your support. And abortion, that child is safe, that child is secure, is growing inside of his or her mother, and you're not just removing your support, you're actively going in with a suction device, with a curette, you're going in with pills to starve, you are going in to intentionally end the life of the human being. It's different.
So also by that standard of like when a woman engages in sexual activity in like a heterosexual relationship, and it's she's like you said, like revoking consent in that aspect, would it then be considered pregnancy as like can be considered like a punishment by that standard? Just like
she may call it punishment. I believe Barack Obama called unintended pregnancy a punishment for his daughters at one point. I would say it's not a punishment because, as I talked about earlier, women are superheroes because we can do 3 things men can't do. Pregnancy is not a punishment. There's punishments and things that happen, consequences, but I would say it's never a punishment, bringing a unique, whole, living human life into an existence. It could be painful, but it's not a punishment.
Moreover, far-left media outlets and the dominant liberal narrative often rely on emotionally charged rhetoric to appeal to the feelings rather than the logic of young people. How sad. It's like they're saying, throw away common sense and use your feelings. How sad. These platforms, they tend to exaggerate issues to capture attention, making it all about feelings without driving into the full context or providing, neutral arguments. They don't do that. Instead, they foster a deeper understanding that is all biased. It's all brainwashing. These outlets, they prioritize sound bites and quick judgments. That's all they do, making it easy for kids to form opinions that feel valid at the moment but lack substance or depth. It's crazy, ladies and gentlemen. The world we now live in is crazy.
That's scary.
I have a personal question for you. Are your beliefs about abortion and life and conception, does that have anything to do with your personal religious beliefs? And I also want to add on your beliefs about having sex, because you mentioned a baby as an acceptable consequence for someone who had sex. But how could a child who is, like in Texas, sex education isn't even you don't even have to have that here. In this entire state, do you know how many people grow up and not even knowing what their first period is? Not knowing that, they think that you can have sex on your period and you won't get pregnant. There's people out here, underprivileged children who have sex early on because, frankly, when you're having sex at 11 to 13 years old, that's not normal. Something's going wrong. Something's not okay. And the fact that you're saying that you're having sex, you got pregnant, that's your own damn fault. So your consequence should be, but you can't drive yet. You can't vote yet. Hell, you can't even make food for yourself yet. But you have to have this child. I'm gonna make you bear the child. And I'm not gonna give you the right to choose a safe abortion. And this is for anyone, because not everyone has the same moral background and was raised the same way as you. Some people are raised a completely different way and believe completely different things about sex and babies, and your belief that life begins at conception, that is not shared by a lot of people. It's not shared by me. It's not shared by any of my friends. So I'm asking you, why should your moral belief be the end all be all and make the law and take away the right to a clean, safe abortion for women to have? Because you talk about 5% of women that are raped become pregnant. 5% is still 2.9 million women who have become pregnant from rape in their lifetime. Just because it's the minority statistics are real people. Yeah. Shit happens. People become pregnant. People are raped. And the fact that you can sit here and say that the rapist baby, the seed or whatever you want to call it, the baby that's still in your belly and that it's not born yet, that you should be forced to have that, it's disgusting. And the fact that you can come over here and have an entire career based off of this, and I'm not done speaking, and then you can sit here in front of my friend who was a victim of rape and say that she should have that baby, it's disgusting. And you should be damn ashamed of yourself, and I don't believe that, and I'm not gonna fight until people like you do not have a place to come on here on my campus that I paid a school to go to and spew your fucking lies.
Well, I believe in the First Amendment. Do you believe in the First Amendment?
Do you?
Do you believe in the First Amendment? I've allowed you to sit here and scream at me for an hour and a half and
I'm saying I don't believe that you should have the right to take away my access to a clean, safe abortion. That's a human right. I have the right to have the autonomy over my own body. You have the right to your autonomy over your own body. We both get knocked up, have sex, both of us pregnant. You want to abort it? You don't want to abort it? Your decision.
Tough love is a principle that combines compassion and honesty, showing someone that you care about them while also being honest with them. Even when the truth may be difficult to hear, ladies and gentlemen, it's not about being harsh or unkind. No, it's not. Rather, it's about offering guidance, setting boundaries, and speaking the truth because you care about the other person's well-being, especially in the long term, their long-term growth. You see, tough love doesn't shy away from addressing hard issues it doesn't. No, it doesn't. It embraces the responsibility of confronting problems head on. You see? Even if it is uncomfortable, in doing so, it helps people to grow. It literally helps people to grow, make better choices, and ultimately improve their lives. It's rooted in love, but it's not afraid to challenge behavior or beliefs that may be harmful or misleading. Yeah.
If I want to abort it, I'm gonna fucking do that.
Okay.
So who are you to sit here and
so
tell
I don't
me
want to own a slave,
that?
but you want to own a slave. Am I supposed to just sit around and say that?
Do not sit here in front of a microphone and compare owning a slave to me, you white
That's the
fucking
argument.
bitch. You have no idea to sit here and say this shit to me.
Ma'am, that is the argument you just made.
No, it's not.
This is
No, it is
absolutely
not. That is your
right.
incorrect interpretation. That is a logical fallacy.
That
You
is the
think you can
argument.
sit here and go ring around the
Ma'am,
rosy with me?
argument. Are you done with your question? Because you asked me like.
You haven't answered anything. You've actually
You
just
haven't
made a
let me
statement and
answer
completely
anything.
deterred my
All right,
argument in a
you can
completely
sit down,
different
I can
way.
answer
Oh,
your
do you think that you can own a slave? If I want to own a slave, can I own a slave? How can you sit here with a straight face and say that to me? How is you not embarrassed of
Do you
yourself?
want me to answer the question? How can you sit here and deny biology?
How can you sit here and deny biology? I'm gonna ask you the same question.
Do you want me to answer your questions? If you will sit down, I will answer your question.
I'm gonna stand right here and I want you to tell me how you think it's okay to compare owning a slave to having an abortion. It is not even in the same ballpark.
Yes, because
White people were not seen as people in this country.
yes,
they were
just like what you've done
enslaved.
time and time again tonight to an unborn child. You have argued.
Unborn child, not living. Black people already existed. They were born.
Unborn
they were
children are
like
living,
literally
ma'am.
born into slavery.
Would you like me to answer your questions? I can't answer if you keep screaming at me. Do you want me to answer your questions?
I'm waiting.
Are you going to stop
Are
talking?
you going to answer my question?
Yes.
Or are you going to sit here and look stupid? I'm quiet right now. I'm quiet.
This is why we have the First Amendment, so they can
Am I
do this.
speaking?
So, no. When we talk about abortion, we talk about the living human being that's present inside of a mother's womb. Biology confirms this fact. This is not a religious belief that I hold. This is a scientific fact. The law of biogenesis says like begets like. We know the definition of life, and we know what's inside of a mother is living because that child is growing. You can call the child a fetus, a clump of cells, whatever, but the fact is that entity, which is a member of our human species, because two humans can't reproduce anything other besides a human, is in fact alive. The arguments that you're making to support your extremist beliefs to justify
It's not
abortion
extremist.
is
It's
that
basic
the
human
child
right that
in
you're
the
trying to
womb
take away
doesn't
from
have
me.
value. The argument you're trying to and failing to make, in the argument that you really
You don't get to
should be
sit here and tell me
debating
what my
on-
argument is. If you want to
Ma'am,
answer
you
my
said you'd be
question, then
quiet.
answer my question.
Ma'am, you said you'd be quiet.
Answer the
The
question.
argument you're failing to make, and what your argument you should be making, is that you believe that the human inside of the womb has less value than a woman, and that certain people get
Yes,
to
it
decide.
does, because it's her
Exactly.
body, her choice.
Exactly.
Her
That
body,
is
exactly.
your
Her body, her
Ma'am,
choice.
that is your argument.
Sorry,
It is not that it's not a human being or that's living, because that's flat out denying biology. We know it's living, and we know it's a human being.
What else would
What
it
you're
be?
arguing is that child doesn't have the same right to life as his or her mother, because you have decided, and what you said during your comments was that if I got pregnant and chose not to have an abortion, I can do that, but you can choose to have abortion because the mother gets to decide the value of that person.
The mother,
That is
it's the mother's child. That's
Ma'am,
exactly what
you're
I'm
not letting me
saying.
answer the question. That's exactly what
Shut up.
happened. That's exactly what happened in pre-Civil War America. You could choose to assign value to Black Americans depending on what you felt like. You could say, I am against slavery because I know these people are human beings that have value and no one has the right to own another human person. But if I was a plantation owner in the South, I could say, they have some value, but they don't have full value because I deem it. It's a slippery slope. And that is not, by the way, that is not a religious belief. This is a scientific belief that this is a human being. Where we can differ on our belief is the
I ask a
value
question?
we assign. No, there's other people behind you.
I have actually one more question to ask, and she
means.
said I could ask a
That
question
is the
before I
actual
leave.
debatable question here today.
No,
is what
it's
is
not.
the value we assign to human beings in the womb? Does a human being in the womb have the same value,
Are you gonna stop
the same
going
right
round
to
and
life
around and around
as
and
other
repeating
people,
yourself?
or do they not? That is the true pro-abortion argument.
In conclusion, sharing the gospel of Jesus Christ is a deeply meaningful and beneficial endeavor, ladies and gentlemen. It transforms lives. It promotes love, justice, hope, and spreads God's word. Literally, by fulfilling God's command, it provides eternal significance and brings profound joy to all those who embrace it. Yes, and at its core, the gospel is the greatest gift to humanity, creating a ripple effect of positive change that echoes God's love throughout society. Yes, indeed. So, if you enjoyed this video, be sure to click on the next one, and don't forget to like, to comment, and to share. I'll see you again next time. It's bye bye for now.